Hello and welcome to This Is the Gravy Train. It's over, baby. Chrome, you got to start paying for it, not with money.
With
your
eyeballs.
body.
Oh.
Your eyeballs are part of your body.
You're paying for it by having those delicious ads shoveled directly into your gaping maw. Now you can't do anything about it.
That's pretty much it. Starting today as of recording this, which is June 3rd, they are rolling out Manifest v3, which is their new platform for extensions on Chrome and Chromium browsers. You might be thinking, Matt, didn't they say they were going to do this all the way back in 2019? You would be correct.
And everyone hated it so much that they've been arguing and, hemming and hawing over it for the past 5 years.
But today is the day, unfortunately. It's the dark, cloudy day. It is starting to roll out with Chrome, I think 88, but don't quote me on that. It means that you're gonna be seeing a lot more ads, and that's the unfortunate reality. So Kinsey, what do you think about this?
To run down the very basics of it, they're not banning ad blockers, but they're making it harder for ad blockers as we have them currently to function. One of the main things is that they're going to be restricting off-site hosted code. So your ad blocker, your uBlock origin have a list of filters that they constantly update because people like Googler and YouTube, etc., are constantly finding new ways around that. So it's kind of the arms race. And Google basically said, no arms race for you. If you want to update those, you have to go back through the extension store and get our approval again. So a lot of that kind of feels dead in the water.
We've already started seeing a little bit of this on YouTube. If you have an ad blocker on YouTube, you just straight up can't watch YouTube without whitelisting the page.
Apparently some of the ways they were doing that were getting a little bit nefarious to the point where the EU was kind of like, hey, this is kind of spyware adjacent. Maybe we're going to scrutinize you for that.
Personally, I will say that if I see a website that does that to me, I just don't go to that website.
Yeah.
When they try and be cute about it too, like
a little bit of it, you're just like,
we make our money on ads, please. Bro. When they're like, no, we're not gonna let you see our stuff because we see you have one. I'm like, it's presumptuous that you think that I care enough about you. I know, like, I'm kind of on the fence of, like, I'm like the, hey, don't pirate stuff. And then when it comes to ad blocker, I'm like, pirate everything. This is gonna get wonky.
Yeah, and it goes a little deeper than that, like just kind of into nitty gritty dev stuff. So there's a lot of extensions that aren't quite ad block, but they do a lot of things like no script and things that allow you to basically kind of have a lot of control over what requests and whatnot your browser is making because they're modifying this certain API call in v3 different to how it worked in v2. Unless your extension works pretty much the same as like AdBlock Plus, you're going to be very restricted in how to do stuff, which is, stifling innovation. Fundamentally is pushing intensification along. We can't fight back against intensification, but there is a way. There's a very, very easy way. Firefox!
Okay.
Install it!
Okay. When did you bring that up here?
I brought it up here when I came up here.
You brought that up there just for the bit?
Yes, I did.
That's
and
fair.
it's also adorable.
It is. Wallpix is great. Okay, so yeah, this is bad. Like, no one should be shocked about this. Google is a company that makes something like 70-80% of their revenue on advertising. Of course that they are going to try and find a way to give you advertising. I do wish they had done this in a way of like, hey, what if we found a way to make ads not suck versus let's find a way to bend you over and because let's face it, that's what they're doing. They're fucking us with these ads. Like with YouTube, all right, everyone started complaining about like, okay, we started seeing 2-3 unskippable ads on things. Everyone's like, well, I just use ad blocker or I use an extension that skips ahead, whatever. Those aren't gonna work in V3, or at least supposedly. And if they do work, Google's gonna be actively fighting back on them.
The whole YouTube thing is kind of a gray area too because they have gotten pushback from like regulatory agencies.
Yes. But you have to have ads on a platform.
Yes,
YouTube is free. We've talked about this a lot. You cannot have a platform like YouTube without advertising. I get it. Three ads suck on a video. That's still less than cable, which you're paying for cable. Like, where else can you get this level of content?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think cable people just, they don't remember how it was. They only remember how it is now because every streaming service is doing that. In the era of like TiVo and DVR, everyone would just record stuff and skip through it. And so like no one had to deal with that level of ads for a while until now we're just getting kind of like slam dunked back into it.
We could talk all day until our face was blue about like, oh, they're not, YouTube isn't paying creators that are under, a certain threshold. They're not getting any views, whatever. There has to be a balance.
Discussion of balance is almost out the window at this point. All these websites are out of venture capital, so now they have to make money, and so they're making everything much, much worse, which means more and more obtrusive ads. Every single thing, every website that you thought was reputable is now going to look like the website that you tried to download, free movies from.
I used to love Kinja deals. They just had the guy who's like, here's all the deals that's going on Amazon. I've watched that one, like you say, just get shittier and shittier and shittier.
The same thing too is that like Google has been in all of this hot water because of how deprioritized like actual reviews are. And so even like websites like Forbes, okay? Forbes, you're like, okay, business articles, right? In like the past few years, Forbes now has like dozens of articles about like pets. All of these websites, they're exploiting, they're like, okay, Google sees me as a reputable thing because we're Forbes. So now we want to get in on, if you're searching for like how to take care of puppies, that's going to show up.
BuzzFeed is a perfect example of, here's the 20 Riverdale characters that you are, and it'll all be one page.
All of them.
Yeah. But now a lot of those websites will make it so it's a slideshow.
Yes. So that you
and
have
then everything
as an ad
which
read.
This all kind of goes in combination with last week Google had a massive leak. Is all these internal documents of how they actually go through SEO, and something they've been saying for years is, hey, clicks don't matter. It's like, we try and find the best results, and then nope, clicks totally matter.
Clicks matter, which is duh.
Yeah, like,
but like, why did they spend all that time lying about it?
So there was a thing though, like they use like 14,000 factors to rank all the things, which is that's a lot of. It's weird weighted because it's 13,999
and then
factors.
one is, did you pay us?
Yeah, did you pay us enough money? Because then you get the sponsored top spot.
Does our AI think your AI is cute?
Can I ask about bots for a second? I don't understand some of the end game for bots. The one on YouTube right now is the butt bots.
Those are fascinating to me because they've evolved over time. Like, they used to just be like, wow, great video, love you guys. But now they've been getting into some like weird hyper-specific stuff. Like, we got a hate comment from a butt pic bot. Like, we've gotten like political comments that had nothing to do with our content.
Like, what is... Am I too dumb to understand the scam there?
I think the scam is this, because like you're AI generating a plausible comment that seems to a hypothetical mark thinks, oh, this is an engagement member of the community and look at that picture, I'm gonna click on that. Like I do think at a certain point too, like the scams become more and more like esoteric.
When I was Twitch streaming, someone bot spammed me, but like followers, like I got like 1,000 followers that was bots, and I don't understand why. Like, did someone buy that for me?
1,000 to 1, that is just like harassment.
Well, that's like I remember I was streaming and
that might have just been harassment. Like someone just wanted to mess with you.
Followed.
If we're not assuming like an actual scam, someone just wanted to annoy you and make you have an annoying time. Kind of like circle back a little bit. So, Google demonstrably lied about the clicks being a thing. Now, of course, they're not as much a thing as they were 20 years ago, but like they were still a thing. Why would you lie about that? And then we circle into how they're also lying about V3, because so much of back in 2019, they were like, oh, well, we're redoing our manifest, we're redoing our whole API. We're redoing it because, we've had all of these instances of malicious extensions taking people's data, spying on them. Well, if you look closer, most of the changes here wouldn't have stopped most of these malicious extensions. It's kind of funny that they seem to kind of be, in my opinion, pretending to care about the extensions when like, okay, like hover zoom on Reddit, that was known to be malicious for like 6 years. Everyone on Reddit was like, hey, don't use hover zoom. But like Chrome didn't do anything about it for years. And then it turns out when you look at it, the only thing is restricting ad blocking and making it harder to develop extensions that could be creative and innovative and improve their web experience, because they do not care about you having a good web experience. They have not for a long time.
Let's face it, no one actually does. Where can you go that doesn't have this? It's Firefox, Safari, I guess Brave, Vivaldi.
I guess the thing about Brave and Vivaldi is that like you're still going to be affected by V3, but because I think Vivaldi also, Brave definitely has a built-in ad blocker, and so they can kind of do whatever they want with it.
They don't care about you having a good experience either. They just care about you having a less version. The reason browsers are free is because they want you to use them, and now suddenly we get some of that ad revenue. Google is paying a ton of money to be the search engine, the default one for Safari and stuff like that. And
also for Firefox. But one thing I will say is that a potential slight positive of this is if enough people switch to Safari and Firefox, you're somewhat lessening the stranglehold Chromium-based browsers have over the browser landscape. Having a little bit more diversity in browser spheres, ward off some of this a little bit.
I mean, I think the real solution here is that I don't have a solution. The easy thing to say is just make ads suck less. Make them less intrusive. Make them less whatever.
Because people might actually click on them. You might actually get a return on your investment.
I'm fine with ads that are relevant to me, but there's the very common one of I bought a pair of shoes last week and now I see the ads for the same pair of shoes I just bought.
It's how many feet do you think I have? My favorite one that I get all the time is these different ages, here's your intermittent fasting workout, and you're and there's a buff wolf man, and I'm like, I don't want to see AI generated buff wolf man.
You don't want to see AI furry?
No.
Rawr.
No.
Here's the experience of a website in 2024. You go there and you get a pop-up, hey, you got to update your cookie selections. Do you want to have just the necessary ones, or do you want to let us track all your data whatsoever?
Is that a thing outside of California? Because I know that's a thing that's
I don't know, because I'm only in California.
Non-Californians, weigh in.
If you have a button that says do not sell my data, I automatically don't like you. And then you get to the, looks like you're using a pop-up.
Oh no.
Then God forbid I actually whitelist it. And then suddenly it would be the scrolling thing where you scroll down and then the ad takes over half the page. One thing's for sure is that this is gonna make things very different on the internet. I'm curious to see how it's gonna play out, whether the battle for ad blocking is gonna go. If the EU kind of says, hey, you can't do this, the rise of VPNs. I know NordVPN had written articles about this. People are gonna have to get smarter and smarter and smarter. You're gonna start seeing more of Raspberry Pi systems. That,
the Pi hole.
Yeah.
This kind of raises a question for me, is that will this bring that kind of tinkering mindset to more people who would not have otherwise tried that?
Well, you know who I think has an opportunity to be the white knights that no one thought of? Router makers. Some routers started to have VPNs built into them, which was great. And that's why I bought the router I do have, because I could VPN into different places. Not all of them, but some of them. Imagine that's just a feature in your standard Netgear router, because routers have no skin in the game. They're selling you on the router. They're not selling you on
and also, if you already have a router that works, you're not getting a new one. That could be hey, we've thrown this feature in and we're gonna get probably sued by Google. But back to what I was trying to say, will this inspire a tinkering type mindset into people who might not have had that before? Because I do feel one of the other things, and I don't mean to be old man yelling at cloud, but I feel people have gotten complacent with how tech and internet is now, especially considering how many people don't have a computer. They're doing it all off of mobile, and I think all this stuff is so even harder off of mobile. Same thing with piracy and the new streaming landscape. Are we gonna see a return to tech literacy just because otherwise it will be such a bad experience otherwise?
I don't think so, and I think it's because this is the piracy thing torrent was, I think, is as difficult as the average person was willing to endure. Torrenting is not difficult for most of our audience, but for like the layman who doesn't understand anything, like it can be scary. Like, I mean, that's partly why LimeWire and like Kazaa was so like, it's literally just boop boop.
Yeah,
and, like, and that's it. Even installing a VPN is scary for a lot of like tech illiterate people.
Yeah.
The same people who are finding ways around it now will continue to find ways around it. But I feel like for the most part,
I guess
most
what
people
I
won't.
want to do is, if anyone's like on the fence or on the precipice, I encourage you to like look into stuff.
Oh no, we can't support that whatsoever.
No, just start with her.
Yeah.
Rooting for you.
Let us know what you think about this. Like, follow, subscribe, and let us know what browser you're switching to after all this.
All these videos get the most comments. They get 100 comments. Well, I use Purple. No, there was straight up one that was like Florp, and I'm like, okay, this is even out of. I've never heard of that one. You made that one up. I'm pretty sure. All right, subscribe.